98.1 FM. As we been say earlier in the program, the commissioner and the ACC can give updates on what you don't do for the fight against corruption. Well, 3 years ago, President Bill appoints Francis Ben Kelfala for lead the fight against corruption, who say head the ACC. After her appointment, the commissioner Francis Ben Kelfala say it make sure say Salone do well na all international index and survey them we don't give the country bad name. Same way so he say he go make sure say he build strong ACC campaign we go position the country for make other country respect them and also for make business and economic business them come na Salone. When at the program, my pleasure for get you again, Francis Ben Kefala. Good morning again.
Thank you very much, Asma.
From that intro the way I just read, 3 years ago, you lead the fight against corruption. And many time we can Canada, so you can tell the people and say you dey try for make sure say Salon do well now all international indexes and surveys them. And also internally for fight corruption. 3 years down the line, how this don't be a reality.
All right, thank you, Asma. Firstly, I want for wish condolences to the family of Eke Holloway. Eke Holloway is the chairman of the Anti-Corruption Board. We passed away yesterday. And we're all saddened by that, and the ACC family deeply, deeply regretting that. I also wish for thank the people of Sierra Leone for their support throughout these 3 years where I don't be commissioner, from the president to the government to the Salome people, and they don't really, I think, say there has never been a time where they don't support the fight against corruption like they do within this 3 years period. On your question about how the Fed don't they go, of course, you know, say we are one of the institutions the way they keep the public informed. When I take over, I remember I talk about this very studio say the commission and the people's commission, and we bring the people along in the fight against corruption. And everything we don't do, we put out the press releases, media releases, we public education and outreach people them there everywhere, updating the public, bringing them along. And we don't know, say during this period, we don't see some of the strongest anti-corruption campaigns, not just in Sierra Leone, but in Africa. We don't bring a lot of glory and respect for Sierra Leone. We don't also see, say, Sierra Leone don't do very well in all indexes where they perform bad at. We do very well. The entire Africa proud of we. I remember recently the head of the anti-corruption agency in Liberia, Cam Salone, he say before they go other places like Rwanda for go admire people for learn from them. But now they don't get a country like Sierra Leone close to them where they come to and look to for fight corruption because the results are clear. They say what is measured is doable. So we they do corruption and the one way they measure them, they talk say we do very well, and that means say we they do very well. So Asma, all we can say at this stage is that although we are not out of the woods, there's still a lot to do. But I can proudly say that all the promises we'll make in terms of building a strong anti-corruption campaign, we go bring back respect for the country. We don't deliver on them very, very well.
You just say we are not out of the wood, that the ACC for fight the corruption, we may say challenges than them. Internationally, like where you don't outline the country from the perception surveys them we don't they happen they up. But internally, heavy challenges than they with the fight against corruption. Usai people just believe say the corruption where you they fight now from for past administration people.
But I under the people that they get them wrong, I don't even know who that are the name people that they because you cannot see a fight against corruption where they go on for 3 years, where they produce results for the country, where they succeed in all global indexes, where even locally and internationally with conviction rate in court, the people that who don't find guilty in court is one of the highest ever in any anti-corruption campaign in the world. We get over 94% conviction rate. In fact, since I become commissioner, we have lost only 3 cases. But we have won over 47 cases. And in terms of prevention, we don't do one of the widest prevention campaigns ever in public institutions for a government. Whereby we do systems and processes review. We don't do ensure we put integrity management committees in every MDA in Sierra Leone. Functioning integrity management committees. Of course, with public education campaign, I don't have to tell you that Mrs. don't spearhead and lead them in such a way where people them they ask say, how are you doing this? Not just about coming to radio and speaking, going to meet the people, the tours that we are doing, bringing the public along, and all these things. So if you look at it from the point of view of prevention, public education, investigation, we do some of the widest investigations everywhere. We do some of the widest thing campaigns everywhere. How can somebody say that an anti-corruption campaign that is producing such results is focused on the past? I don't think it would make sense to even himself. And if we look at the statistics and records, that I make the last time I invite the political parties, then at ACC, and I gave them the details, the rubrics of cases they will not investigate in the past and cases they will not investigate in the present. It was very clear. In fact, not even done necessarily admit, say, what we are doing in the present is far more than what we are doing in the past. But you get some people, them, we just believe, say, they don't have the details, they don't have the data, they don't have the statistics, and they don't go after it, but they can just make claims we're not correct. But I can tell you, say, it's not possible. And I challenge anybody who thinks, say, we have done more about the past than the present. Let them come, let look at the data and statistics and information. Or let them questions, then come here. So ready for clarify them. Make names, data, details.
So how cases where it don't happen in the past, they help the fight against corruption currently, where the commission can go look back at some of them cases and they.
I think, say, first of all, there is no back or present or future with the fight against corruption. Corruption is corruption. Okay, I think, say, what people they really be want, now that let we just come, ignore the past corruption, and there was plenty of it, and we focus on the present, because then things say that is what will make them square. But we are a professional entity with responsibility for past, present, and future corruption. And therefore, because of that situation, we be need for ensure, say, we not just focused on the present. And we hold the past strongly accountable, and I've always said it and I repeat it. It was right for us to hold the past strongly accountable and inform the present, say, they don't have a free pass to be corrupt because they have to be accountable. But going down the line, in the first year where I become commissioner, the people that just come, you really don't have much to do with them. So we held the past strongly accountable. But from the 1 year mark now, going forward, we have been doing a lot and more about the present, and we continue to do so.
So inside the past 3 years, where you don't be commissioner at the ACC, cases them one don't investigate so far. Looking back at the past and the present corruption case, them who's one outweighing company?
The present far outweigh the past. And like I said, let anybody come with the data. How many people that we investigate in the past government and how many would investigate now? You cannot even compare at all. You cannot.
So what about the kind corruption within they involve in? Now Uswan and Uswan, so compared to the far way, say the current cases the money they investigate, they outweigh past investigations. So
we not do a qualitative analysis of the cases there yet. In terms of what? But I know for sure, say, there was plenty of corruption in the past. We did investigate. We did recoveries. We held them accountable. We took them to court. Some of them admitted to corruption, paid back. Some of them are standing trial. We have convicted ministers and deputy ministers. We are investigating still some of them. But also in the present, the same thing. Corruption continues to be a challenge in Sierra Leone, but our responsibility is to make sure we do something about it. Corruption, it is a question of what you do about it. It is not the absence of it. So in the present, we are also doing something about it. But we will not do a qualitative analysis for, say, or quantitative analysis for, say, oh, in the past, this was the prevalence of corruption, and in the present, this is the prevalence of corruption. Waiting no more me know that Afrobarometer been measured corruption in 2015 to 2017, and the talk say corruption prevalence in Sierra Leone be there at 70%. Overall, Sierra Leone was 70% corrupt. The same institution don't come measure last year. They say corruption not reduced from 70% to 40%. 70% to 40%. In the public service, corruption was high at 80%. Corruption don't reduce in the public service to 32%. So, like I say, you cannot look at anything in the past and present and say we are not doing much about corruption today. We are doing very much about corruption today, and the results are there. Anybody will want to challenge them, anybody will want to question them, be my guest. We can look at it.
Meeting the public expectation and the fight against corruption are one way plenty people believe say for counts to the commission in terms of waiting people can perceive but on our work. So inside the past 3 years, now which case the commission don't really handle in terms of challenges would have been feel that case it was so challenging due to public perception and the expectations of the public in concluding it. Now whose case you go tie with that?
Well, we get several cases really, and all of them can be cases we get challenges. Usually the public usually get anxious because Sierra Leone has been badly governed for so long that people they feel say accountability, now respect. You get for respect policy, you get for respecting position. Or this policy, they able to touch up because of this. So for example, when we try for look into the case involving the former president, it was a question of accountability. It was really not, you were president, issues have come up, come and let's have a conversation around it and reach a conclusion. The public feels say, some section of the public feels say will not forever ask our questions. For some reason, me not believe in that. I believe say everybody should be accountable for their tenure. And the institutions are bigger than individuals, so we speak to them. We got other cases that we involve heads of institutions, that's alone, where people that see people that they write things there on social media, for example. When we are investigating the Sierra Leone Maritime Administration, they say, no, they're not going to touch that policy day because of XYZ reason. But we don't charge them a court. So these are all things really. I think say if we continue on this trajectory, the people learn to accept the issues of cycle of accountability. They understand the institutions are bigger than individuals. And more importantly, with a nail down in the psyche of Sierra Leone, that accountability is non-negotiable. If you hold public office, it doesn't matter who you are. If the institutions want to let you account, just come and account. And then we'll move on.
So as maybe we ask you just now about the challenge of cases where you can deal with which one of them, and you make mention of the one of the former presidents. Waiting don't happen to that matter now.
Investigations don't conclude. They do administrative review of the case itself in terms of consideration by everybody concerned. So the case still in at the ACC, but investigations don't conclude now. But we get other stages of the process of determining whether or not that case is a case to deal with, whether using one of the means of conclusion of cases at the ACC.
So investigation don't conclude now.
Yes.
You go and say anything they of interest where the ACC will use or charge the former president?
We not determine yet whether prosecutorial threshold has been reached, but the fact that we insist on investigation and we investigate means that there was a lot that has to do of interest to the ACC. So yes, issues then they were of interest to the ACC, but again, it is going through administrative scrutiny for us to determine where we are and where we go.
Citizens they don't condemn the ACC plenty time for the way how una say una can investigate some issue, where particularly the one una can say una they start back 2-3 years ago. How the commission can take that?
Because
determine that
citizens then first of all, Sierra Leone get for understand say when people are appointed in positions of trust, when they have been appointed and approved by Parliament, they get a responsibility for take actions and decisions in the best interest of the country. And most times the citizens they know, I know they say they don't understand the issues, but probably because they are not the ones involved, not to them they look at the paradigm of issues them where they come before they can take judgment. So first of all, they say not to all citizens then be there against the fact say we they go behind and look at issues, not just a section of the citizens that will be feel say, oh no, why did they go behind? But let me say this. Certain investigations then they will they truncate. They cut them. The issues are such that one they run into the other and one they run it. For example, they investigated is this issue involving New York, the embassy in New York. The payments that led to the building of the representative, the Sierra Leone office in New York. The payments started coming out in 2011. The first payment that was transferred to New York was around 2016. And it continued in 2017. When the new government came in 2018, more payments came in and was transferred. Now, if me an anti-corruption commissioner, corruption allegation don't come on these payments and on the construction of this one office in New York, It will make sense for make you begin investigate that issue day from 2018 or 2019. You left the other payments that wake up from 2011 were equally get elements of corrupt practices, elements of questionable payments, or questionable diversion of funds and resources. No. There is no way me could be an anti-corruption commission. An anti-corruption commissioner will do that reckless. Because you have to look at the issues in circumspect, and you get for start from when the payments come to the end. So you cannot truncate such issues. The same thing happened with the issue of the First Lady. Africanist press and other public people that say First Lady office not supposed to receive money at all. They say not for receive for money. We say okay, fine. Let we look into the issue. If we start for look into the issue, but we see say other First Lady they don't receive money, public funds over the years, running into billions and billions of loans, it will make sense for make the public tell me as the anti-corruption commissioner of Sierra Leone say no. Not look into the other money where the other First Lady they don't receive. Only look into the money where this current First Lady are receive. No, madam. So then there will be an abdication of my responsibility. And of course, sometimes when you occupy a position like I do, not a popularity contest, it's not about what the people think. It's about what is professional to be done. Let the legacy continue. Let posterity judge. But me know say in any case where we don't look at the issue and determine say no, this one, the nature of this kind of allegation, it go finally will look at all the issues them and draw conclusions. Now the most professional and efficient outcome we will get. Anybody who thinks that they're not correct, now because you really don't understand the issue, but you cannot truncate that kind of investigation. The moment you truncate them, you've gotten it wrong immediately.
So in terms of deciding on looking back at some of them cases that we just make mention of, in terms of investigation, going back to years, then maybe don't pass.
Yes.
The perception where people, some people on the project now that then same then the way the activity and events and they happen at the institutions and the other ACC commissioners then be done there. So is it that the Anti-Corruption Commission doubts whether or not then be do them work properly? We make now you don't tell me you want to go back to some of them cases and they.
But who issues that they would all look into periods where other commissioner they be there? An issue is investigated when it comes to the attention of the commission. The time the commissioner they been there, probably there was no question of whether money was paid to any First Lady. It all means the money was not paid to them. Maybe they were not aware. Maybe it was not an interest to them. Okay? All the issues they would all investigate in the past government were issues that happened when there were other commissioners. I am not saying that they did not do what they have to do. They may get other cases the way they do, but they simply not look into that one. And they.
So it become of interest now to the current commissioner.
Because now it become an issue. Remember, there was an audit of the First Lady's office for the first time in the history of Sierra Leone in 2019. The 2019 audit included the audit of the First Lady's office. Then, of course, the Africanist press started putting out issues of payment to the First Lady. Was the Africanist press present when they went in 2019, in 2016, in 2015, in 2013, 2014? No. They started putting these revelations out in 2019. The same thing for the audit. This office had not been audited. It was only audited in 2019. So clearly, the issue came into our attention now as a commission, and we needed to look at, and like I said from the beginning, the question was it lawful or legal for the First Lady's office to be paid public funds? In 2015, in 2013, 2014, no. They started putting these revelations out in 2019. The same thing for the audit. This office had not been audited. It was only audited in 2019. So clearly, the issue came into our attention now as a commission, and we needed to look at, and like I said from the beginning, the question was it lawful or legal for the First Lady's office to be paid public funds? You cannot look into that, and you don't look into what is the antecedent. How did we get here? They get waiting and call. You get to do an analysis of the progression to where you are, and then you go know now say, okay, this is something that maybe we end up and say this is a conventional office. It has been there. They have been receiving money. They pay for the medical. Then they pay for per diem whenever they travel with their husbands or they travel personally. And I'm talking about billions of euros, not to for take 10 million euros or 5 million euros. I'm talking about a minimum of 1.5 billion every year.
So since you're so particular about systems and processes, in this case, waiting to be the end where you can to processes and for make sure say waiting you investigate not happen again.
Now, the good thing will happen with this is that before we even come in, audit service review will already audit the office of the First Lady. Okay? And then give clear recommendations. Now, we at audit service, them, they work together. It's a system of complementarity. They had already made recommendations. So once we investigated, our focus was first of all to look into the issue whether in fact this office here supposed to get money anyway. But once that was concluded that yes, the office don't get money over the years. It has been recognized as part of the governance architecture of Sierra Leone. The next thing now really for make we try for ensure say we go through the audit recommendations. We talk say let's system then at the office of the First Lady. Let them get competent people there for manage the finances there where they receive, and of course let them be under the same system of accountability as all other public institutions in Sierra Leone, which is not different from what would have been our conclusion even had they not done their own audits. But we agree with their recommendations, and I can assure you say that has already started. The Office of President and other people, the Ministry of Finance, have coordinated to make sure that office they get competent people there for manage the finances that are there, particularly for the House of Our Girls campaign.
Continue for the between the program. Francis Ben Kelfala will go for this short break where we continue the program.
Nasty part 2. I'm in the building. The nasty just the hard. Momo boss part talk. Block the tune. The proper system. In nasty. Police brutality. I don't pen angry. Just the nasty. The light is nasty. Get the nasty. I said the proper system. In nasty. Police brutality. In nasty. I don't pen angry. Just the nasty. The light is nasty. Get the nasty. The nasty just the hard for the nasty. The people come for part 2 nasty. You don't see that students when they beat stay in nasty. Sorry. I so nasty. Rest in peace, Alpha Wandada of Esti. Rest in peace. They make the man they lost in life for nasty. We say not so police brutality nasty. Police then they were nasty. You gonna bank for collect you money for nasty. Bank tell you say system they down for nasty. But not so nasty. Whenever they ask for 8,000 from Shelto Calbat, nasty. Yeah, people get sweet in nasty. Yeah, we are not for talk and say in nasty. Yeah, we Saluna so nasty.
Tell passe, people let me suffer. Tell passe, system hard water.
You all we nation be clean with no nasty. 40 up for the school, not the forget face for nasty. What's bad? You don't so mumu pa nasty. When the nasty just stay hard pa the nasty. They just see them prepare for the December nasty. Back final, they bega they want to na pa nasty. Atila and Alpha can, they just a lucky and nasty. Just they jump from party to party, all pa nasty. Congratulations, so we darling Leon. Welcome to Cameroon 2022 with no nasty. Salon promotes as union. When I get caught clean with no nasty. When I keep going strong pa the game with no nasty. And if you get education, this when they talk about pa nasty. One question paper for 2 school picking pa nasty.
We now generate sufficient electricity.
Meeting where the Minister of Foreign Affairs been hold with senior editor and station manager. They make mention of Kenya, China, and also New York. But more not be the New York one. Plenty people be know, but say that they investigate them for different suspected or alleged corruption matters them. Now the embassies there. So let we take them one after the other. Kenya, what's in the happen there?
Well, as you know that one, because of usually those places are outposts, a lot of things don't they happen where audit report, not they pick them up. I remember there was a particular audit report we pick up a lot of irregularities in our embassies them across the world. They were running as if they are a republic of their own. So we take them very seriously, and we act on them. So for Kenya, for example, there was an allegation of corruption involving the head of chancery in Kenya and the deceased ambassador we don't pass away now. So the ambassador referred the issue to we for investigate. We don't investigate. In fact, we can get a team of investigators that will go as far as Kenya, spend 1 or 2 weeks there, and investigate the issues there and draw conclusions there. Firstly, we conclusion have been that there were issues, administrative issues that Bokude we need attention. For example, the head of chancery where they go Kenya, he just take 2 staff of the ministry, go with them for himself, and go employ them in Kenya. Not going through diplomatic rules, not giving them the usual processes for make foreign staff go work in Kenya. So they are in Kenya illegally. Those are issues that were identified. Also, subsystem issues were identified. But we'll find out, say, as far as the money is concerned, they be actually use them accurately and correctly. Then buy the things that we then buy. Just that some of them, there are questions around why did you buy such expensive things, but the explanation are that they are a foreign mission. They have to live in the status and condition of their counterparts in Kenya. So if somebody visits them, for example, the normal bed where you buy for a public officer, you have to buy a better bed for them and things like that, which is understandable considering that they are an outpost. As long as the money not to them personal use, they put out for, they put it into the work of the mission. That is fine. But we don't refer the administrative issues them like this one I just described concerning the taking of staff personally to Kenya without going through proper processes, without going through proper approvals. We don't refer them to the minister for action.
And I'm not seeing anything corruption for charge.
No corruption for charge at all.
How about the China one?
The China one, remember, say this happened back in around 2015. That was the time when Victor Fu was just concluding his tenure in China as ambassador, and when he came to Sierra Leone and eventually became vice president. They opened an account without going through Ministry of Finance. This account was run by the then head of chancery in China, and donations were made into that account up to just about $1 million. However, the money was used entirely in China, and only one man be the run that account there, and the Ministry of Finance not be aware of the account. The current ambassador will say India and China for 2 years instead of not be aware of the account. He only became aware of it by coincidence or by accident. So that issue they don't refer to we don't begin investigations into them, and I can assure you, the investigation they in advanced stages. As I speak to you now, there is a team seriously looking into that issue, and we will draw conclusions very soon as that team they return from China.
So pertaining that, how cooperative the one them we involved don't be to an investigation?
No, everybody they cooperate. I mean, this is a question of law. It's not about you. It's not about individuals. It's about doing the right thing. So when we they investigate, we know they look face. We don't. It's not about person. And if you don't cooperate, there are rules, there are laws. We can arrest and detain you. If you are obstructing the investigations, we can arrest you. So, but everybody so far, they really cooperate with the investigations, which is good for all of us. For example, the current ambassador in China has been very supportive, and is Domaina making sure that we get everything we need. Because you can imagine how complicated it is to do that kind of investigation in a country like far away like China. But we are moving forward, and we are almost there.
The New York one, where people feel say really huge. What's in the happen now with that?
The New York one, as you know, we came in very strong. The president feels very strong about that particular investigation. They think, say, they don't cause embarrassment for Sierra Leone. We serve at the ACC, think is one issue we should look into, because the payments will be made. The good thing about that investigation is that the contractor is admitting receiving 90% of the money.
How much will they talk about now?
We are talking about just about $5 million.
Just for renovate the.
It's not.
embassy?
It started at a renovation, but it really became a reconstruction. It was to build a house, add 2 floors to it, and also try for do some modernization process into it. And that process is ongoing. The money is not entirely sunk. It's not like the money has disappeared, somebody has eaten it. But just that we are strongly concerned about the administrative processes leading to the payment. Because if the contractor is admitting to receiving 90% of the money, but the property itself is not in a state where you can think that 90% has reached there, how did the Sierra Leonean authorities from 2016 to today make those payments to him when payment for public construction should be on a certification basis? In a tile, you make the tile, engineers then go look and they confirm, say the tiles are there, then certify, say this process is good, and then the public officer, authorize payment. For example, when they do ACC building, that's what we do. So how were this payment made when the building is not in the state that it should be for a 90% payment? And that with the whole and the head of Chancery was arrested. He was in custody. He is now on bail. All the financial attaches in New York have been called back. They are here. They were in custody. They are now on bail. We are speaking to all heads of missions, from Mr. Kaikai, who was there at the time, and then, of course, Dr. Ali Kaba, who is there. We've taken statement from all of them. We've spoken to Nabila Tunis, who was a minister, and we are thoroughly combing the issue. We are also speaking to people from the past government who were also of concern, including Dr. Samuel Kamara and others who also served as minister when this building was going on. So it's a really huge investigation, but I can inform the public, say the ACC is extremely professional. Let's just trust what you will do, and we'll always come out with the most optimal outcome.
All right, continue for the between the program. We go for a short break.
You're welcome.
Nasty part 2. I'm in the building. The nasty just the add for more boss talk. Block the tune. The proper system in nasty. Police brutality in nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light is nasty, gets a nasty. I said the proper system in nasty. Police brutality in nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light is nasty, gets a nasty. The nasty just the add for the nasty. The people come for part 2 nasty. You don't see that students when they beat say in nasty. Sorry. How you go call that not so nasty? Rest in peace, Alpha One Dada of Esti. Rest in peace. They make them and they lost in life for nasty. We say not so police brutality nasty. Police then they were nasty. You gonna back for collect you money for nasty. Bank tell you say system they down for nasty. But not so nasty. Whenever they ask for 8,000 from Shelto Calbato. But the system nasty. People get with the nasty. We are not for talk and say it nasty. Where's Aluna so nasty?
Tell passe, people in the suffer. Tell passe, system hand water.
You all we nation be clean with no nasty. 40 up for the school, not the get face for nasty. What's bad? You don't so mumu pa nasty. When the nasty just say act by the nasty. They just see them prepare for the December nasty. Back final. They bega they watch una pa nasty. Atila and Alpha can then just a lucky and nasty. Just they jump from party to party, all pa nasty. Congratulations. So we darling Leon. Welcome to Cameroon 2022 with no nasty. Salon promoters union. Una get caught clean with no nasty. Una keep going strong by the game with no nasty. And if you get education, this when they talk about pa nasty. What question paper for 2 school picking pa nasty?
We now generate sufficient electricity in Freetown.
Una de Allah e pa nasty. Una fisa na like pa pay de like pa nasty. Una ba, we don't fence pa una with una nasty. As corona money drop, face mask ya back pa nasty. As corona money drop, yes they just they increase pa nasty. As corona money drop, breski list pa nasty. The proper system, in nasty. Police brutality, in nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light is nasty, get a nasty. I said the proper system, in nasty. Police brutality, in nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light is nasty, get a nasty. You MPRC regime, concepts clean with no nasty. People no be they expect this nasty. Saloti they not so nasty.
Good morning, Salon. They continue in the Commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission still in the studio. And before we look at other issues and commercial break, the way we will look at the embassies them where the Commission currently they investigate. So say you'd already talk about the Kenya, the New York, and the China, the embassy in China. But the investigation here where the Commission don't they do we see the one for New York gonna be make detain some people them there pertaining in that particular investigations. So at this point, people go like for now waiting they determine for let the commission decide say this case where they investigate, we they detain them people here compared to other cases and we can similar but not can detain people them.
Anti-corruption gets standing orders, and if the investigation, particularly financial investigation, such that because when you start the investigations, then the evidence they in the hands of the person where they investigate, or better still, they in a control. So it might be in an office, it could be in a home, it could be saying I know the witnesses them at that stage. So we can detain usually for protect the investigation. For that person not able to interfere with the evidence. For me not able to do anything, we go jeopardize the progress with the evidence. Until, so usually we can usually put people there on bail once we don't get sufficiently what we need. Or we don't sure say this person in day one out not go jeopardize the investigation. So that's usually the reason why we can detain people there. Now for protect the integrity of the investigation, particularly in terms of interference. Corruption investigation not easy. Most times you are investigating people who have control and access to the very evidence you are looking for. And sometimes you don't even know what is evidence at that stage. So we can need for take a precautionary step for detain, for avoid contaminating the investigation.
So in this case, from where you can this morning, we don't talk about different cases where the commission don't investigate, taking back from the former president, we come to the office of the first lady, we don't look at different other cases, all in cases where we don't talk about. Now this one in New York, the commission feels say them for being detained, the one that were involved directly.
No, maybe if you recall, we detain a lot of people in the ACC. Most cases we detain people.
Now the major one that we don't talk about this morning, they ask.
The major one that we
where we don't talk about in terms of detaining people.
No, we can detain people. In most cases, we can detain people. So, for example, the one that Kenya, there was no need to detain somebody because the ambassador will be involved. We don't pass away before we team begin investigate. And of course, the lady where they on the other end of the investigation then a post in Kenya, so there was no need to investigate but usually now a question of really the nature of the investigation. Like this one now New York, it gets serious aggravating circumstances will make more likely that you go detain. Some of them is just a probe for know what happens, and at that stage you don't really detain as long as you know say the evidence will not be contaminated.
Let me look at the SLMA saga. Almost the top management been there at the list of investigation where the SEC do. What should happen to this matter?
We don't charge them to court.
Now, would they involve?
I don't know say the Director General is involved. We also get the head of procurement involved. We get other people then we be in at the procurement committee, including the person where they in charge of the Director of Finance. It's a really it's about 7 people. So and all of them are mostly top management.
Also, earlier we start for talk, you make mention of 90% conviction rates. Now, you don't, since you be head of the commission,
yes,
they don't make. But other matters, then the way you can also can we result like you don't rule on, you know, can appeal. You can say now, you say they go appeal.
On appeal, yes. We get only one matter since meeting at the commission. We get at least to what I even remember this morning is that we have only one matter on appeal after a decision. That are the Aisha Johansson case.
What did happen to him?
The appeal is they be supposed to settle the records and start the appeal process.
In all of these 3 years in office and waiting, all you don't talk from starting, Usai you be wants for make Salon internationally get good name to the facts, actual facts on the ground. What are the challenges them we you don't face as commissioner?
Challenges Neboku. But I mean, in the middle of all these good things, first of all, I just say this: we don't deliver big time on that promise for launder the image of the country, using the Anti-Corruption Commission as a center of the socio-economic transformation where they happen at Salon. And of course, we all know waiting to happen with MCC scores who come on. The time when we come as commissioner, will be there 49% will be the fail. Down the line, we are now sitting comfortably at 81%. Imagine the gap. The jump. The same thing in Transparency International scores, with a jump 12 places in 2 years. That's something which is admirable in Africa. In fact, if you look at the corruption projection in the entire Africa, most countries are declining. That Sierra Leone is moving forward, make we one of the shining stars of the fight against corruption in Africa. Of course, I don't tell you already the Afrobarometer statistics which show say survey and data which shows say, and they were a pure qualitative investigation into households, what people they think about the fight against corruption and how corruption they impact their lives. It shows that corruption don't reduce from 70% to 40%. That's a huge reduction anywhere in the world. And for it to happen within this short period of time, we have to be very, very thankful for our stars, and we get for clap for ourselves as a country as well. But more generally, we continue to do things. The difficulties that resources is a challenge. Manpower, the entire ACC is about 215 staff countrywide. We cannot be everywhere. We can't deal with everything. The challenges that I don't articulate them adequately here over and over. Also, the Ministry of Finance, they do very well for support. They really, really do well for support the budget. But clearly, that is not enough when you are fighting corruption. And I've said this again, and I continue to say it. We don't build a strong anti-corruption fight built on the 4 pillars of investigation, prevention, prosecution, and public education. We don't come this far. Where we are now, the fight against corruption is no longer about people, it's about systems. We have to shift. The government needs to invest into system, into prevention. 80% of corruption is about systems, only 20% is about people. So people will always be corrupt. People will always be greedy. They will always want to steal. They will always want the good things of life. But when you put in systems them in place where they remove the incentives for corruption, where they remove monopoly from them, where they remove opportunities from them, you don't defeat corruption immediately. And then you deal very strongly with the one that we venture in that 20% we left. So it is about systems.
Right.
And that they continue for encourage the government and know that the resources are constrained on them, but they continue for make we have a whole government approach to fighting corruption. It is no longer about the ACC. The ACC don't bring we this far. Now for me, we now set systems them for make sure say people them not engage in corruption. And the one that we engage in corruption, they are audit trails, they are easy to arrest, and when we arrest them, we deal with them very strongly. The judiciary for supposed for sentence people in 25 years imprisonment, 50 years imprisonment, like they do for rape and sexual assault, where you they lead. But then they do so for corruption. They have to do so. They are doing very well, giving judgments in our cases. The decisions are excellent. The outcomes are great. We get great speed with the fight with our cases. You notice that people are not grumble again about corruption cases delaying because the judiciary is becoming extremely efficient at dealing with them.
Right.
We just need now for raise we hand with sentences, 25 years imprisonment minimum.
All right. So you refer to yourself as the People's Commissioner. Of late, we don't see you say they engage communities them around the country on different corruption information awakening. When I can go give them, what's not the response from them people there?
Trust me, one of the really, really enriching things what I don't do in my tenure as commissioner in these 3 years, and that tour I take go into those rural areas where no commissioner no ever go. The island of Bond.
How important?
Karine, Kamakwe, Mongo Bendugu. All these places we go as far as Kwendu in the far east, Daru, Shegbema. We don't go to places where in those public meetings, I should say you don't see the images, the videos. We sit down, we dance with them. Then they enjoy how they fight against corruption, and then they always give feedback and talk. Say this is not the first time we commissioner don't come for can talk to we about the fight against corruption. But most importantly, you will be interested to know the intelligence with which them people they articulate the issues, how they understand them within their own framework. And they are usually concerned about the things like the culvert where they give somebody contract we not bill. The school we not get proper sitting things. The nurses then at the hospitals them. Then chief them, where they cut them case, where they fine them heavily. The one that we don't get judgment, where they not pay them yet. Across the country, they appreciate what we are doing, and they always talk and say, now we really know the ACC day. And now they confirm, by the way, waiting the PFM consortium led by Center for Accountability and Rule of Law, we do, where the campaign say 92% of the citizens in Sierra Leone, 92% of the citizens in Sierra Leone get confidence in the Anti-Corruption Commission. Before when they do that survey, they'll be 19%. So when we go around And you see the videos of the people, they how them in Gladdy for city commissioner and the team, how they receive we, and how of course they engage in the town hall meetings. I think it's a very good thing for Sierra Leone. I think it's something where any other commissioner will come after me supposed to continue. The people were happy to receive us and they understand and appreciate what we are doing.
The issue about confidence on your staff them also. Now, one way people can use more concern that when a staff themselves can make small petty corruptions them. In your office as commissioner, who that's the monitor now for make sure say the ACC office equally clean as you want other systems and processes for the other organizations.
One of me very good directors and be there once, and when I ask her this question, I answer them excellently. Kwevayama. Emmanuel Kwevayama tell una say now the entire people of Sierra Leone they monitor the ACC. The People's Commission is monitored by the people. I remember one one member of the stop public come meet and say ask her for money at the time when I be detained somebody. Say the person go ask her for money, say let it collect money and can't give commissioner. The staff was dismissed immediately. Me, I believe in that story of kill dog before dog, let dog knows they died. And I can assure you, say the staff there of the ACC very professional. They understand that they are held to the highest of standards and they are doing what they can do. So if anybody thinks, say, ACC person corrupt or it get issues, remember, when they go make the SSM payments then for NAXA, we want staff be involved, Nabakeni. The staff was arrested and detained along with the NAXA staff. We not talk say because now ACC staff, let we keep them aside, let we just focus on NAXA. They were all detained in the same cells until we investigate and find out, say, even the case against them not being correct. It was a wrong allegation against them. They were not involved in corruption. But we were willing to go that far. That is what I believe in, and that is what the ACC will hold itself to the highest of standards. But also not forget that the ACC is audited every year. We go through the same audit system as any MDA in Sierra Leone by the audit service Sierra Leone.
And when I get systems and processes all confirmed in the ACC.
Oh no, with system and processes, the ACC is excellent. We now a grade A audit institution even before me Kandi. The ACC has always been a grade A audit institution and it remains a grade A audit. They just done audit recently. The audit recommendations them, the issues them so basic and simple that you will always think that an angel and then an ACC.
And you think at this stage, una work really don't meet the expectation of the public we una the work for?
100%.
Right,
I know say we get a few people them we probably there on social media. They try for beliefs that are in the public, but I have gone across the country. I have told you I've gone to Falaba, Mongobo, Dubu, I have gone to Moyamba, Pujehun. I have gone to Kwendu, Shegwema. I have gone to Daru. I have gone to Kaine, Kabbalah. I go as far as the Warawara Hills, na Kabbalah, and sat and spoke with the people. Me, they tell you, say the people appreciate what the ACC is doing countrywide.
So still on the issue of systems and processes, especially so the preventive department, now the anti-corruption commission, how effective it don't be. I want to take the Salon Maritime Administration as a case study. We don't see over the years, the heads them with the always in the commodity with issues we get for do with alleged corruption. How effective on a prevention departments don't they work now the institution for ensure so on prevent the corruption itself?
One of the real success stories of the anti-corruption campaign we don't build in these 3 years, now the prevention department.
How effective it don't be in SLMA, for example?
SLMA, the prevention department only work they complete their report about 5 months ago and make the recommendation for systems review. SLMA had never been reviewed before I became commissioner. And under my tenure, they have now been reviewed. We don't identify the system loopholes them, and we don't make recommendations they were there for change. It was in the middle of that system review that the issues that come around will involve Masakwe and the others ones that all don't charge to court. But they were very cooperative, they were very involved. Now just the procurement issue, no more will they be involved with and they will be needed for charge for. But already we have made those system recommendations. The board chairman and others are trying to implement them. I want to assure you, say the SLMA going forward will never be the same.
But now wait on a fair not say don't be the problem there because not to one
system not be there. So for example, SLMA only get procurement director about 1 year ago. So how can you run an institution like that with over 500 staff countrywide and you don't have a procurement system? Then I bring the problem for Serafinda Bendo because it was only the auditor who was doing everything. So they not being get system, they not being get processes, they not being get procedures.
Now we don't make a recommendation. They don't get a director and the entire team for procurement. They don't get proper systems then for follow. And of course, we believe they going forward and go follow them.
All right, continue for the waiting at the studio, Francis. We'll come back to you. The program, they continue with a take commercial break.
Nasty part 2. Banga. I'm in the building. The nasty just the add. Momo boss patok. Block the tune. The bumper system. Ain't nasty. Police brutality. Ain't nasty. I don't pen angry. Just a nasty. The lighting system. Gets a nasty. I said the bumper system. Ain't nasty. Police brutality. Ain't nasty. I don't pen angry. Just a nasty. The lighting system. Gets a nasty. The nasty just the add for the nasty. The people come for part 2 nasty. You don't see that students when they meet say in nasty. Sorry. How you go call that not so nasty? Rest in peace, Alpha One Dada of SD. Rest in peace. They make the man they lost in life for nasty. We say not so police brutality nasty. Police then they were nasty. You gonna bank for collect you money for nasty. Bank tell you say system they down for nasty. But not so nasty. Whenever they ask for 8,000 from Shelto Calbato. But the system nasty. Yeah. People get sweet the nasty. Yeah. We are not for talk and say it nasty. Yeah. We saluna so nasty.
Tell passe, people in the suffer. Tell passe, system hard water.
You all we nation be clean with no nasty. 40 up for the school, not the forget face for nasty.
Program Good Morning Salon, they continue come again to the commission and the Anti-Corruption Commission. ACC as we continue for look at the work where the commission done they do inside the past 3 years. Let we come talk now small about the issue we get for do with asset declaration. Waiting at the status of right now.
Asset declaration, as you know, we don't review the law, we don't reduce. This year, I gladly for tell the public, say for the first time in the history, we get over almost 90% compliance by public officers. Almost 99% of State House don't declare their assets. Over 90% of Parliament don't declare their assets. Almost 100% of ministers they don't declare their assets. These are encouraging things that don't happen as alone way. We not probably we say not to talk about it much, but the public need for understanding and appreciate say it has never happened. We get a huge compliance rate. So as I speak with you, we do what we call now follow-ups for make sure say the one that will not comply it, we get to them and say you get for comply before we start for implement sanctions. July is the month of sanctions. July, anybody will not comply, will go fully with the way the law says, will they seize your salary. If you don't comply, you could be suspended from office after 3 months. And if you don't follow, we could recommend for me to remove you from office. Then of course, in appropriate circumstances, we also charge to court.
Now, paper-based declaration, they do
both online and paper. Would that one go online? You can go online, www.anticorruption.gov.sl, and you go able to fill your asset declaration there. But also, you can do the paper base. All you need for go now, we order office in a Lotto building, collect your papers, and come and fill them. We they try for move towards 100% online compliance, but you know, go give people an online compliance when probably internet not in all public offices and all public officers they don't get access to internet and computers. So we also assess the situation for know whether going 100% internet is online declaration is the most efficient at this stage of we national. Is the most efficient at this stage of we national development.
So this about 90% compliance rate we talk about say people on telecommission, but then assets them. During the 2018 election, the now President Dr. Julius Maada Bio been promised the people and say if they take up office, he go declare assets, let them really know waiting he get and we ready for left again, waiting he don't acquire. The presidency don't make this known to the commission as to waiting he gets where they take up office.
One of the most compliant person with asset declaration are President Julius Maada Bio. Remember the time when they make me commissioner, the day, it was on the 28th, exactly today, I was sworn into Parliament. On the 29th, the President called me to go to State House to receive his asset declaration. So, and he has declared every year that followed since that day. He's very compliant. is following the law.
Then we also look at the lead way una can get for do some major investigation, like the office of the First Lady and also the New York one. Say mainly na lead una can get from the African Express. How that publication they don't help in una investigation?
No, I not say we get lead from the
No,
African
I'm not
Express.
saying you. I'm just saying say people believe say they can lead in una investigation.
The African Express is a whistleblowing entity. We consider them as partners in the fight against corruption. And where then claims them substantiated or something we will need for looking into, we look into. But I have to make this clear to the public. The African Express, they put out a lot of information. And most times they refer to all of it as corruption. It is not always corruption. You have to peel the corruption from it. So most times they make claims we border on wasteful spending. Then they could talk, say 500 billion has been used for travel by the president. 5 billion has been used by the president. 5 billion has been used by the office of First Lady. The chief minister gave contract for 200 million. As far as we're concerned, that is not corruption.
Now it's in.
It could be wasteful spending. You may make a claim, say that money did too much for this particular trip. But traveling is allowed under law. Every time a president travels, the country pays for it. Particularly when it is on official work. Even me as commissioner, where they travel, the government pays for it.
So
if you now go and aggregate that amount there and claim corruption, no, sir.
So in
The
terms of
Anti-Corruption Commission focused on corruption, particularly where systems are not followed, where it is not sanctioned by law, and of course you use them for your own benefit. You use them for your own benefit. But if you think say the money too much, you can go lobby Parliament. For my Parliament cap the expenditure on travels. For my Parliament put in regulations them on the issues there. So where not just the weight of the money that the problem. You can say that $1 million has been used for a trip. If they hire a plane for take the president from here to Russia, you are expected to pay a huge sum of money. Is that corrupt? No. Except if there's a law which says that when the president is traveling, enough for buy ticket for the people that we travel with. So, whilst we appreciate the African Express and what we are doing and their partners in the fight against corruption, we therefore understand, say, the focus of the ACC is on issues that are real corruption, not necessarily wasteful spending. Wasteful spending may be of interest to us if it becomes corruption. But if it is merely because you're unhappy at the amount where some other people then they receive, the contract somewhere involved and all that, no, that is not our mandate. We do not regulate public spending and expenditure. We only look into issues of corruption when the expenditure is a diversion of public resources for private use and gain, and that private use and gain is not authorized by law.
3 years exactly today, as you earlier mentioned.
Yes.
And one of the things you been say you did do now forgive the country international good name, make all the index and surveys them will be good for the country.
Yes.
And also take the commission to the people.
Yes.
Going forward now, almost your contract you will get.
5 years.
5 years. Okay, you don't do.
We have 2
You don't do
years.
3. You left 2.
Exciting 2 years to come.
Okay, so what's next in these 2 years after today?
We will continue for consolidate the fight against corruption, but we will continue for go very strong with enforcement. This is the time, because if we don't come this far, we don't come up from 49%, we don't come to 81%. Nobody don't get for care, we'll go back to 49%. If we don't reduce corruption from 70% to 40%, it's either we continue for go down to 10%, or if anybody attempt for care, we go back to 70% corruption will be there in 2017, yanda and not go fine for we all. So waiting me to assure the public is that the People's Commission will be the lead. They continue for represent the interest very well, and let nobody not lie pauna. The fight against corruption is at its best ever in Sierra Leone. What we don't do
By whose estimation?
by every estimation, international, local, anything. If anybody want challenge and let them come with the data, we can always look at it. But me, they assure the public, say the People's Commission is doing very well for them. We are producing results on the scale that has never been seen before in Sierra Leone, and will continue to do so as we go forward. In 2013, Sierra Leone was ranked the most corrupt country in the world, not just Africa.
So it's
But today, if we are respected as one of the best performing countries in Africa, this is something we have to embrace and appreciate.
So it's been the People Commission as they describe the commission and the work we una done they do.
Yes.
Moving forward, you get any plan for the people and really be part of the fight in terms of looking for themselves. For example, asset declaration become public so that the people themselves go know say where this person they can power. Now this it been declared say it gets, and where it they go now this it declare say they acquire. You get plan for this?
Anything where the people they want for make it happen. All they need for doing now for lobbying and parliamentarians, they let become the law.
So we
the ACC, they operate within the law where Parliament they passed, and Parliament are the representative of the people. So everything inside the Anti-Corruption Act.
But now we see una put the una carrying na Parliament. Now una they draft them.
What are them?
The ACC, for example, the thing they una want for make it be law.
Yes.
And now una they draft carrying na.
Yeah, but they ask me about the things that the people they now want. If the people they want anything, let them make sure say they call them parliamentarians then for put her into law, and we will comply.
This public asset declaration, a call we be done, they can before na review na act. Waiting be happen when not been day inside and at the end, say then review the act done. This done they come for a very long time.
Well, it may be saying one of the issues they will oversight, but still we are open to it.
And you think say it really important at this stage, let the people make the assets declaration public?
I think say we they operate within the law. Anything with the people they want, let them go through the parliamentarians, they let them put her into law. The ACC go comply.
So
we are the typical People's Commission. We not they argue with the law. We do what in the law say. Right now, the law say asset declaration for be in secret and in private, and the commission and the staff they not for disclose them to anybody except by court order or for commissions of inquiry. If they change that one day today, trust me, the first person where they put in asset public now Francis Ben Kelfala.
So I just be
then I sure say every other person.
Say if you don't declare your assets.
I declare my asset every year.
So the ACC where they do the feds.
Declared publicly.
I think say all entities they are under consultation. We go for look at we own cultural development, we own socio-economic development. Whether, for example, you want if you na asthma that will make you minister tomorrow, and you want why should they talk na radio democracy? People that they go and check how much money you get, balance you get at your account. You village the people that they wait for you. If somebody sick
You
or
think
die, they bondo all when they pull, they say you forgive money. They if we think say at this time. In socio-economic development that day for happen, people there for the past, and everybody they see how much balance they get at their account publicly, and somebody can go on social media and pull up how many houses you get, and of course you debt us then for the then not for even go again for Google search about you. Let we go ahead and do that into law. Once it is law, we will comply as a commission.
You're not getting a direct answer it as to the ACC go there in favor for let this happen, because you're not a legal person and you said on dip and the fight against corruption.
Maybe.
Where something open secrets, no, do you not think they go help the fight?
Maybe. Well, you're not a public officer.
If me take up,
You lost your individuality and you represent the people. Waiting me think as a person, no matter here. It's about what the people of Sierra Leone think. Like I say, if we want, let everybody go the pass, and in village people then they see how much na the balance na your account at Bank of Sierra Leone or na commercial bank. Let's go ahead and do it.
If now that's the person they work for in a public position,
Then fair enough.
All right. So
Pass, and in village people then they see how much na the balance na your account at Bank of Sierra Leone or na commercial bank. Let's go ahead and do it.
if now that's the person they work for in a public position,
Then fair enough.
all right. So we now touch on petty corruption. We're very important also in the fight against corruption. So in your fight, in your administration, which you take petty corruption for be?
Petty corruption and then corruption they will not to really corruption the way involve big money, we know widespread and affect the lives of the people. So like policeman where they take money in the street, then public officer the way they ask for them small money, waiting left for we now. Waiting they happen.
It's like the police will improve.
Waiting.
We don't say we know the 2 years, but police.
There is an improvement in the public service at all levels. That kind of way they have corruption be in a salon before, and they assure you say everybody knows say in all this again. People them they afraid. And then afraid because of the good work where the Anti-Corruption Commission they do. The good way they know say the president will get make promise say wey become president in the fight corruption. And of course, it don't empower the ACC. It don't stand with the ACC for make sure say we stamp out corruption in the country. President Bill don't really do well for the fight against corruption. And we within our ACC, when our independent body, when they work with them, appreciate the good work they do.
Many thanks. We're joining the program this morning. That's now the Commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Kelfala. If they give updates on different corruption investigation in the fight so far inside the past 3 years.
Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations to you and your team for the 3 years.
Well, I not even play that congratulations tune for me.
Just campaign.
That Nigeria one.
Where the citizens then call for that?
Congratulations.
If the citizens then call for that, we go do them.
All right,
because
thank you
then they
very
assess
much.
now.
Thank you very much.
Well, we want to say many thanks to the team, Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Koma. We produced the program, DJ Lava, Moses Kevua, and also Usman Kamara. Well, stay tuned at 12. We get midday show at 7 for the national news. But don't forget to continue for stay tuned to Radio Democracy throughout the day. We get more interesting programs. Been Asma James TV show now. All the best.
And Mibel Kabade say goodbye.
Nasty part I'm in the building. The nasty just the hard Momo boss patok. Block the tune. The proper system in nasty. Police brutality in nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light system get nasty. I said the proper system in nasty. Police brutality in nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light system get nasty. The nasty just the hard for the nasty. The people come for part so nasty. You don't see that students when they beat stay in nasty. Sorry. How you go call that not so nasty? Rest in peace, Alpha One Dada of SD. Rest in peace. They make that man they lost in life for nasty. We say not so police brutality nasty. Eh, police then they were nasty. You gonna back for collect you money for nasty. Back tell you say system they down for nasty. Eh, but not so nasty. Whenever they ask for 8,000 from Shelto Calbert. But the system nasty. Yeah, people get sweet the nasty. Yeah, we are not for talk and say it nasty. Yeah, we Saluna so nasty.
Tell passe, people in the suffer. Tell passe, system hard water.
You all we nation be clean with no nasty. 40 up for the school, not the get face for nasty. What's bad? You don't so mumu pa nasty. When the nasty just stay hard pa the nasty. They just see them prepare for the December nasty. Back final. Them bega they wax una pa nasty. Atila and Alpha can then just a lucky and nasty. Just they jump from party to party, all pa nasty. Congratulations. So we telling Leon. Welcome to Cameroon 2022 with no nasty. Salon promoters union. When I get caught clean with no nasty. When I keep going strong pa the game with no nasty. And if you get education, this when they talk about pa nasty. One question paper for 2 school picking pa nasty.
We now generate sufficient electricity in Freetown.
Una de Allah e pa nasty. Una fise na like pa pay de like pa nasty. Una ba, we don't fence pa una with una nasty. As corona money drop, face mask ya back pa nasty. As corona money drop, yes they just they increase pa nasty. As corona money drop, da breski list pa nasty. The proper system, e nasty. Police brutality, e nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light system, get nasty. I said the proper system, e nasty. Police brutality, e nasty. I don't pen angry, just a nasty. The light system, get nasty. You MPRC regime, concepts clean with no nasty. People no be they expect this nasty. Eh, Saloti they na so nasty. I they wonder who da put you pa this nasty. Cause the Kanski don't skanga, no the one go, no the one ga. Proper system, strong like a banga. But the 3 years keep us, me not see nothing. Trouble jabla nasty. If you see the Rambo them now we parliament, they just affect themselves they pa nasty. Congratulations, so we graduate them. Una welcome to the long bench for nasty. Connie Wire Clef for the selling results for nasty. So full man them na the college them pa nasty. Soldier team, una just begin crumble pa nasty. Una no see nothing, it's pa nasty. Check no bar, check it for pull west na do pa nasty. You report they all clean with no nasty. Get them water minister, we no see nothing pa nasty. People and they die by angry but nasty. Oh my goodness. Sierra Leone is unpleasant. That's all now. See them they kill Okada man them but nasty. Like they not so Sierra Leone and but nasty. Una blow pa the hustle, God skip struggle jobs in double. Like una get the work for do but nasty. Una blow pa we Okada man them with una nasty. Big up to me sister them, don't na abacha. How na God skip in nasty. Oh me know that una pa nasty. Sky uno go shot the real nasty. The bumper system, nasty. Police brutality, nasty. I don't pen angry, just nasty. The light system, get nasty. I said the bumper system, nasty. Police brutality, nasty. I don't pen angry, just nasty. The light system, get nasty. Look at your pot, smell with the nasty. Pass it pigeon, then choke the nasty. Prison, so alaki and nasty. And this when I'm money down the back, cook and nasty. University system, in just a nasty. Students sell gets nasty. 60 years independence. It's all sorry and nasty. It's like na rebel the boss na the tongue pa nasty. The presidential guards una video be so nasty. I can understand na order from above pa nasty. But that video be unprofessional, saying nasty. Now so he left back off on pa nasty. Shout out to Alachi Production. Adebayo and Banky Banks. Una thank you for promoting nasty. Now so not hospital nasty. And you feel say people then go well pa nasty. West Coast every day in just stay nasty. Some traders just stay express pa nasty. Traffic block na the city just stay nasty. But the weekends traffic blocking over nasty. I got tapa all the boku talk pa nasty. Biyo you na jankoliko pa nasty. See boku pasi picking the suffer pa nasty. But still then they make try pa nasty. Me Belgium youth una on shop for the nasty. How for do salon na so nasty. Students get shots they lost at the collection pa nasty. So lecturers they nasty. I really link up with nasty. They don't remember who knows self pa nasty. Say nasty, suspects that the social media nasty. We they kill we self by playing pa nasty. The bumper system, nasty. Police brutality, nasty. I don't pen angry, just nasty. The light system, get nasty. I said the bumper system, nasty. Police brutality, nasty. I don't pen angry, just nasty. The light system, get nasty. Sorry. People in a lunge how na they do down day. I dey feel am for now. The lunge bridge on and nasty. Them for let it allow people that we get money from buy better ferry for now. They say poor papas Libanese. Libanese and get sketch na this country. Look Banana Island. No sell the all to the Libanese. Even with cement business again and say pass Libanese. No problem.
Mr. Minister, thank you. Salam alaikum. I don't know the way you say thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you.
Okay. Marine time. Me I don't know what you do. Me I say I just left you access so you bolo yagbala. All man they can fishing. It's like that the Chinese man and I they get you access. Salon and Nastia. We don't even get one money to boat for look over the water. Yes, hello. So nasty. How the pilots boat don't water.